Okay, just finished episode 19 of season 2 of Vinland Saga. Spoiler alert. It began with Kettle's with Thorgil in front of the troops that Kettle had amassed to defend his farm from Canute. 350 people. They said that only about 100 of them can fight. Fox was talking about this. I can't ever remember whether his name is Fox or Badger, but they call him Fox in this episode, so I don't know if they're getting confused. Probably me, because I'm old. Anyway, they were basically like, we only have about 100 troops that can fight. He didn't, apparently Kettle didn't tell the troops that they would be fighting the king until they were amassed, because Thorgil said they wouldn't have ever come if they had known they were fighting the king. These are a bunch of farmers and slaves that aren't warriors. Again, only about 100 of them are actual warriors. The other 250 are just farmhands and slaves. So, but I guess their pride made them stay once they gathered and found out. And Thorgil gave Kettle credit for, having the wherewithal not to tell them until then. Then you see Canute's troops sailing toward the shore. They showed, goodness, it's so funny because the end of this episode was so good. The beginning was kind of slow, but the troops were coming close to shore. They were spotted, and someone from Kettle's troops tried to sling a bow, an arrow. He tried to shoot his arrow at the boats. They were too far. So the arrow splashed out in the water. And they were like, there's no way we can hit them from this distance. Don't be shooting your arrows yet. And then all of a sudden they started getting hit with arrows. They're like, how are they shooting their arrows so far? So they took out a bunch of Kettle's troops. Then they made it to shore. Canute's troops made it to shore. They made camp. They sent the herald out to Kettle's troops. And Kettle got really mad because they were basically like, your traitors, surrender. Canute set them up. Obviously, we know that from episodes before. He's like, basically, you're a traitor. Usually, we give you the death penalty, but we're gonna give you a chance to live and just give up your farm. And then they're like, we'll wait until morning to see what you've decided. So, the herald heads back, and Kettle's angry. Obviously, he's going to fight. Now, at some point, I'm going to mix this up in this episode because I'm having a hard time remembering how everything went. At some point, they show Arnheid there in the bed, still laying there, still unconscious with, of course, Einar is standing watch over her or sitting by her bed, just staring at her, And then, Thorfinn is there. Leif is there. Leif's son, who is also named Thorfinn, is there. And another guy is there. And they're discussing her health. Pater is there. And Pater is the one that's looking after her. They want to move her. But Pater is like, you can't move her right now. She's unconscious. We don't know what she has. She needs to stay stable. She can't tell us what's hurting or what's wrong. At one point, she starts coughing. She's still unconscious, but she starts coughing. So they turn her aside so she doesn't choke on her, any kind of vomit, but they show her kind of spitting up blood. So she's still in a terrible, terrible way. And you're wondering if she's going to live. Snake is shown getting ready for battle. And he's talking to Fox and some other, there's a few other troops there. And he actually tells the story of how he met Kettle. And he talks about how when he was first... he was out and he was in a bad way, and he met Kettle when he was 15, I think he said. Iron Fist Kettle, the stories of Iron Fist Kettle, beat up a bear with his bare hands. He's a really tough guy. He said he met Kettle. Kettle taught him how to fight, taught him everything he knew. So then, he got to a point where he got to a bad place and needed help, and he was like, if anybody can help me, Kettle could. So he found Kettle's farm and listened to rumors and found out where Iron Fist Kettle had gone. He met up with Kettle, he looked him in the eye, and he was like, oh, this guy isn't Kettle. This isn't the Iron Fist Kettle. He's been lying the whole time. So Kettle his name is Kettle, but he's not the Iron Fist Kettle of legend. He is not a warrior. So Snake tells us, Snake's basically like, Snake's getting ready for war at this point. And he's basically like, our so-called master is not worthy of dying for. He's like, but I took in food. I've eaten my share of free meals in this place, and now I'm going to earn it. I guess somehow, since he ate from a fraud, he's got to earn his keep somehow. I'm not exactly sure how this honor system works. And Fox basically says the same thing, and he follows Snake in the battle. The guys go out, get ready to fight. The next morning, they gear up, because what happened is, after the going back after Canute's troops shot their arrows to clear the beachfront, they set up camp. And so Kettle's troops came the next morning, their answer being, we want to fight. Because of course Canute was talking about how beautiful the land was. It's like it'd be a shame to spill blood here, but sitting up there waiting for his dad's head to start talking to him, but he never came out. Not in this episode. Thank goodness. I'm tired of little heads. Get on my nerves. I didn't like King Swain when he was alive. Definitely don't like him when he's dead. He's just a dismembered head. Anyway, so Kettle's troops they line up and get ready to go and fight Canute's troops. They find out Canute only has about 100 troops there. However, 70 of them are Yam's Vikings. We know about the Yam's Vikings. That's what Thor's was. That's what Thor Cal was. One Yam's Viking is like 30 regular people. So it's not going to look good. And Snake tries to warn Kettle. He's like, look, if you fight, you're going to lose. I'm here. I'm going to fight with you. But if you fight, you're going to lose. So 70 of the Yam's Vikings line up in front, and they start advancing, and there's nothing these troops can do. These troops are getting just sliced and diced. Back to the old blood and guts. Thank you, my son. You know how much I hate that. They're advancing, and before all this happens, Thorgil is talking about this attack. He's like, it might be only 100 troops, but they're gonna beat up Kettle's troops quicker than they can count to 100. So whoever is with, I can't remember who's with Thorgil, but whoever's with him is like, so what's the point of all this? It's like, isn't it obvious? We're using these troops as a distraction. While Canute's troops count to 100. I like the way he put it. So it's like, oh, okay, it's this whole distraction. So this fight is going on. Not much of a fight. The Yam's Vikings are tearing them up. And Canute's like, basically, we don't need the rest of our troops, which are also elite troops, to join the Yam's Vikings. We would take those troops, the other 30, I guess it is, and go arrest Kettle. So that's going on. While that's going on, two things are happening behind the scenes. Number one, Thorfinn's watching the battle start. He comes back. Thorfinn, Leif, the other Thorfinn, and Einar have gotten Arnheid on a wagon, ostensibly the same wagon that Arnheid and Gandar took off in. So they're on this wagon, and they're about to take her away. They're basically stealing her, because the other Thorfinn, Leif's son, is like, oh, we're slave thieves. He's freaking out about it a little bit. So they slowly cart her away. She's still unconscious. So they're sneaking away while everybody is distracted. So that's going on. As far as that goes, they get her, and all of a sudden you see Arnheid starting to have a vision. She's in the wagon, healed. Gandar is driving the wagon, and she has two children with her. You assume it's her and Gandar's son, and the son she had with Kettle. So she's with her two kids, and they're going off and they're leaving what they call the dark forest. And then all of a sudden, Arnheid is like, we're leaving the other people behind, you know. So Gandalf stops and he's like, go ahead, Arnheid, it's okay, go back and say goodbye to everybody who helped you. So right after that, she wakes up. Because she actually tells Gandalf, she's like, yeah, I need to thank Einar and everybody else. So then she wakes up all bandaged up and stuff. Of course, she opens her eyes, and Einar loses his mind. Stop the wagon, you know. And she says, Einar, is it really you? And then that's the end of that scene. So that's going to continue on in the next episode. The other thing that's happening is you see Omar trying to swim with a sword on his back. And he's on the shore, and he's like, I can't do it, brother. I'm sorry. Then you see Thorgil, who has made his way to the backside of Canut's troops. Now, Canute had no guarding the backside of the boats because they're assuming, you know, that they're safe there. So Thorgil has made his way to the back. He's got a sword, and he's snuck in. He is in sight of Canute. So Thorgil is about to try, I assume, to assassinate Canute. Maybe try to capture him. I don't know. But that's how the episode ended. It ended with that. And it was actually kind of a cool look, seeing Thorgil with this big smile on his face getting ready to take out the king. So that's how this episode ended. Fantastic ending. So, and a lot going on. So we're trying to figure out if Kettle's going to get captured, if Einar's going to live. Looks like she's about to die. And she just can't. She just woke up to tell everybody goodbye. And then she's going to pass. She's going to die. That's what it looks like to me. What's going to happen to Canute by the hands of Thorgil? There's a lot of stuff shaking loose. So it was kind of a convoluted episode a little bit, but it's really interesting the way it sets up for episode 20, which got 5 episodes to go. Vinland Saga has 48 episodes, only have 5 to go to complete it. And then I get to pray for season 3 because I really want this to continue. I'm really enjoying this. Of course, my first anime I've ever watched. So episode 20 is next.